Samson here. The biggest fallacy that is there in farming is that there is no money in it. Welcome to today's segment of book reviews. Richard Wiswall's The Organic Farmer's Handbook. This is a book that is actually centered around business principles that have to do with agriculture. Hence, he pointing out the biggest fallacy that is there in farming is that there is no money in it. Simply points out to the fact that you need to be able to farm for profits and not only for production. A lot of people who go into farming where maybe they go and then they don't get to make money from it simply because you do it for production and not for profits. So we're going to dive into the book and share some nuggets on how best to do up agriculture and benefit from it. So doing agriculture as a business. So the book is divided into like a lot of different sections that get to talk about a lot of different things, but the 5 major lessons that I got from the book. And lesson number 1 being profit is equals to income minus expense. And most farmers ignore this rule. The very thing that we need to understand in doing agriculture as a business is that every crop that you are growing is supposed to have its own income and expense list so that you're able to track whatever is coming in from that specific crop and whatever is growing out so that you understand the profitability or just the production of the crop that you are doing. And the basic rule is simply that you need to stop losing money from whatever you are doing, from whatever crop you are growing, and you need to be able to make money out of it. The second lesson is the fact that you need to have a crop journal. This is the most important tool actually that you have on your farm or as a farmer. What this simply entails is the fact that you need to be able to track your crops, whatever stage they are at, that is before you even plant anything and before you even dive into doing anything really. You need to be able to have a crop journal that is going to give you enough data that you need to be profitable. So farming is production work and the farm gets paid by the piece and not by the hour that we put in it. So we need to be able to understand that if we want to get returns from whatever venture from whatever crop we are doing in there is need to have a crop journal that is going to give us the necessary data that we need in order for us to be profitable. The third lesson that I got from the book is that you need to be able to understand the value cycle and you need to plan for profits. So right before you plant anything, you need to be able to understand how you are going to get money from the crop that you've planted. So before even thinking of let me put something in the soil for it to germinate and grow, you need to understand who's going to buy your produce, where are you going to sell it, who's going to buy, where are you going to sell it, and you need to understand the production plan that you have for the crop. If you have a 1 hectare, you dividing it into portions where you think that if I put this crop here, it's going to be able to grow for this long and I'm going to be able to get such amounts of returns from there. So it's like a 4-point plan that you need to follow. The first one being the marketing chart, understanding your market, where you're going to sell, and then the production plan itself, then the map of the fields where the crop is going to go, and then the seedling calendar. So the seedling calendar is going to give you an understanding of the consistency that you need to build in as much as you are growing your enterprise. Closely related to the third lesson rather is lesson number 4, which is the fact that the crop enterprise budget, these are real numbers. So if you cannot understand the numbers that are coming from your production, then it's very hard for you to become profitable. There is need to understand the numbers that you have in order for you to become profitable. He says that the only place where success comes before putting in work is in the dictionary. So for you to be profitable, you need to farm for profits and not farm for production. And this actually entails that you need to be able to understand and double down on the things that are unnecessary for you to grow and focus on the things that are going to be able to bring you in a lot of profits. Because there is notion that no, there is profit in growing beans, there is profit in growing rape, there is profit in growing lettuce. But in the actual sense, people who are growing those maybe have a way in which they do that and they've got the established markets, and you who is just maybe going into it have to understand how your money is going to be able to come in. So the ability to double down and everything is what is going to allow for you to actually be able to make profits. And then the 5th lesson that comes in handy from the fourth is effective management. So this is you having a clean desk, having your time quadrants right, and your employees. So talking about a clean desk, this is just you basically being organized. Yes, as a farmer, you need to be able to have a desk where you are able to sit down, plan, work, and have everything in place in order for you to understand what is going on and be able to achieve the goals that you have set for the farm. The quadrants, the time quadrants that are there, I think it's Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where he's got 4 quadrants of the things that are supposed to be done. So these are important and urgent, and then they are important and not urgent, and then they are urgent and not important, and then there is not important and not urgent. So you need to be able to understand the 4 quadrants in order for you to block out your time very well. In order to be profitable, you need to do important things which are urgent. They're supposed to be handled in first. And then lastly on this one is simply dealing with employees. Employees are not an expense, they're an asset that you have, because everything that has to do with production, has to do with processing, and your enterprise generally, it is focused on the kind of employees that you have. So a better team is what is going to drive the success of your enterprise. Summing it all up, do not let the good that you're doing interfere with the notion of perfection. So if you're doing good, continue doing good. You might get to perfect, but yeah, do not let that come in the way of your enterprise, basically. The benefits of planning your estate is that you're not just doing it for you, but for the people that you care about the most. So the concluding remarks that he has is, when you're planning for retirement, I do not believe in the notion of retirement, because you need to work until, yes, you are normal, you're not able to work. So think of the legacy that you want to leave forth behind, hence talking about planning about your estate and the like. So this is a very good read. It's not as bulky as these other books that we've been reviewing and all that, where we're going into the technical details of the soil, of everything. This one is specifically focused on the fact that there is need to understand the business side of your agriculture enterprise if you're going to be profitable. Therefore, farm for profit and not just for production. Till we meet in the next segment, I am checking out.